sir, man. Hey, everybody, stay tuned, man. Keep rocking, keep following Donovan McLemore, man, on Grind City Hoops, man. It's one of the best podcasts out here.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Grind City Hoops. I'm your host, Donovan McLemore, and today we have a special guest on the show, someone that trained me for a long time, back when I was hooping. We got Coach B on the podcast. Let the people know who you are.
What's going on, Grind City Hoops? This is Coach Brandon Howell. I coach at Blake High School. I am the director and the 17U coach at for Inspire Elite AAU, which is Adidas Gold program right now. We're in year 3 right now, and we've done pretty well in helping these kids get into school, teaching them fundamentals, and trying to make sure that they are good young men and good citizens of America at this point.
Absolutely. That sounds awesome. So everyone has an origin story of, how they got into the game. Obviously, a lot of people start when they're really young, just playing basketball nowadays. But, around what age did you get into the game?
I got around to the game kind of old. I want to say probably around 6th grade. 6th grade was first time I started playing basketball, and I started playing basketball by default. A lot of my friends, when I moved to Maryland, played basketball at recess. It was my 6th grade was at an elementary school, Chevy Chase Elementary. So a lot of the kids, man, they ended up going onto the courts and playing. My first 2 sports that I played was football and baseball. My father played baseball in college, and baseball was natural to me. But basketball was something that was fun, man. It was challenging, but also fun just to compete and see how creative you can be when you're out there playing. So that's kind of how I got my introduction into playing, and I loved it. I loved it so much I stopped playing football and baseball.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually going to ask you too. A lot of people started playing basketball when they're really young. I know I did, probably around 6 or 7 years old for me. But you started in 6th grade. Was there like a big learning curve? Like when you started so late, was everyone just like...
Yeah, because being athletic at a young age, man, just being athletic, you tend to be kind of good at everything that you decide to do. But basketball was one of those things, one of those sports that you had to continuously to work in order to be good. It didn't naturally come to me, you know what I'm saying? So I was already, like I said, I was athletic. I could jump, I could run fast. I can kind of like move past guys real quick, but like the art of shooting, being able to just fundamentally have my footwork set up properly and be able to make moves effectively and efficiently, man, was probably the most difficult part. So short story, my mom and my father put me in it, like I said, when I was in 6th grade. And I want to say when I was in it, playing basketball, I cried every day because I was not good at it. I cried every day. So my mom tells me, she told me the story. She told my father, if he cries by Friday, we're just not going to have him play. We're just going to let him just play football and baseball. So when Friday came, I didn't cry, and that's pretty much what happened. Just stuck with it, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, but, that's actually interesting you say that. I mean, it's obviously, basketball's changed so much. Like, you got to get in there early nowadays just because of the skill and the technique of the game. Like other sports, you can kind of, your athleticism can kind of take over. Basketball is just like the craft got to be there.
For sure.
So transitioning to later in your playing career, obviously in high school, everyone's high school player's dream is to, go on and play college basketball. But, in high school, just walk us through like, your high school experience and how it went.
High school was a journey for me just because my father was in the military. So I traveled. I moved around a lot, man. So I ended up going to Bethesda Chevy Chase for 9th grade. Played JV, had a really good JV season. Then come to find out towards the end of the school year, my father gets orders for us to move. So they have orders for them to move to North Carolina. I didn't want to go to North Carolina, so I decided to live with my grandmother in Alabama. And I played basketball down in Alabama at Sumter County High School in Alabama, York, Alabama, small town, but traditionally a winning program down there. So played down there, man. And then after my sophomore year, ended up going to, my parents wanted me to come back and live with them in North Carolina. So I started junior year in Alabama, went to North Carolina, Camp Lejeune High School, North Carolina, man, in Jacksonville, North Carolina. And right before basketball season started, after I made my friends, I had to move up to back to Maryland.
Oh
So my
man,
mom, she got a job in Maryland. So we ended up moving over in Tivoli by Kennedy High School. So I went to Kennedy High School for like a month and a half, and then while I was at Kennedy, I reached out to the basketball coach who didn't know me, but during lunchtime, everybody plays basketball during lunch. So
sure.
I'm in doing my thing against the guys that are on the team, and I feel like I'm one of the best guys at the school. So one day I go downstairs and meet with the coach. And I asked him, I said, I introduced myself and I tell him, I'm interested in playing basketball. Does he have all his spots filled? And he was like, right now I got my guys. I know that you're a junior, but you could play JV. So when he told me that, I was like, in my head, nah. So I ended up writing an appeal, transferring to BCC, back to Bethesda Chevy Chase High School, because they was at a holding school in Northwood, which was close to where I lived at. And I finished my 11th and 12th grade year at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Ended up having a great year. My senior year was all county, and averaged 22 and 6. But I didn't have a basketball coach to kind of like, put me through the ropes or contact this coach or that coach and on the Division II or Division I levels. So if it wasn't for my father who dubbed all these tapes, my highlight tape back in the day, had them on VHS tapes. It wasn't like it was, YouTube links, man. We sent it all over across the country. And then Johnson C. Smith reached out to me because my assistant principal at the time at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School, he went to Johnson C. Smith. He put in a word for me, and that's how I ended up at Smith.
Oh wow. So how actually that's funny you bring it up because they're dealing with a thing nowadays with high school players, just with the transfer portal and stuff like that, and how hard it is to get in contact with these college coaches because players are just shifting across the country nowadays. Like, how difficult was it, coming up in your senior year and you're like, man, I just don't have that one coach to, get those connections for me. And like, how vital do you think that is for players nowadays to have like a coach that has connections?
It's very important just because of the fact, man. I think especially in our area, man, in the DMV area, it's kind of like if you don't go to these prestigious private schools such as, like a DeMatha, St. John's, Paul VI, or something like that, even Sidwell Friends, you're probably going to end up getting overlooked at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important to have somebody that's connected, well connected, that's going to be able to help you navigate through the recruiting process, man, or even put you in position to gain exposure. Because at the end of the day, that's all that you can do. A coach isn't going to just offer you just because, somebody that they know or something like that. You got to fit the criteria. You got to fit the culture, your background, your family background. Like, it's a lot that goes into a character, as well as your gameplay. You know what I'm saying? How consistent you are and what you bring to the table.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All of that is very important. So now after post high school, obviously you say you went to Johnson C. Smith. So how was your college career any different than high school? And just walk us through that.
When you go to college, I mean, you're not the best one no more. You know what I'm saying? That's the deal. I think what ends up happening is it kind of like it's a culture shock because, you thinking you're going to do what you did in high school on the college level. And it's guys that are bigger, it's guys that are stronger, it's guys that got more experience. You're going against grown men, coming out of high school, 17, 18 years old, man. Like, you're going against somebody 22 that's at your position. It's a whole new ball game. So it was a lot that I needed to learn. I got better at Smith. I got bigger at Smith. I learned how to shoot the ball a whole lot better. I was never taught the proper way. And you would think in high school, you'd be taught the proper way to shoot the basketball, but footwork and follow through just was not instructed. So I got a chance to kind of like get coached, man, get coached and kind of see the guys that were ahead of me on the depth chart and, try to emulate that and try to do it to the best of my ability. But one thing that I will say is it made me a whole lot more hungrier to play the game. It made me hungrier to get better each year, add something to my game that I didn't have the previous year. So I redshirted my first year, and then my sophomore and junior year, I didn't really play that much. And after that, I just decided to transfer to Frostburg State. be closer to home and have an opportunity to play. And I think that's what it came down to. So when I transferred, it was probably the best decision that I made in my life, man. I had fun playing, met a lot of guys. I actually came in there with 4 guys that year that we all probably looked at each other and was like, there's no reason why we should be here, but we're going to come out, have fun, and play the best that we can play, you know. So it was fun, man. I mean, my facilities at Frostburg were like, a smaller Division I school. I mean, we had our own bus. We had our gym was bigger than the gym that I was at my Division II school. Campus, I mean, it was just a whole new ball game. But it was definitely a 180 from Johnson C. Smith, which was a HBCU school, transferring to Frostburg.
Right. So obviously, basketball was a roller coaster while you were playing. A lot of moving around when you were in high school, and then in college you were moving around as well, just trying to figure out somewhere to play. Post college, what happened first? Did you get into training first, or did you get into coaching, or did you take a little bit of a break after college? Like, what went into that?
Nah, post college, man, after I finished college, I kind of got into coaching, and I got into coaching with my best friend, Freddie Davis, who's at Blake High School. He coaches JV over there. They just went undefeated this past year. So, man, my best friend and I, man, we decided to get back to the community and start coaching these guys that are now coaches and have families now. And we put together a great team of kids from Northwood High School and Einstein and I think Kennedy as well. It was just a collective group that came together, bought into what we was talking about, man, and we had fun coaching. We had fun coaching for sure.
Absolutely. So, coaching is a different thing than actually playing. Was there like a curve coaching, or was it just like, just right into it and you just knew what to say and what to do?
Yeah, it's totally different, man. Like the learning curve, I mean, you expect that, some guy, I mean, you'd be able to coach guys the way that you were taught to coach. I mean, not taught to coach, but the way that you play. So when you don't have those expectations met, man, it's kind of puts you in for a loop at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was kind of like the hardest part at first, man, just matching the passion and intensity that I played with those other, those kids that were being coached, the kids that were on the team, you know what I'm saying? So that was pretty much it. But other than that, like, it was a smooth transition. I think naturally I was able to coach without no issues, you know what I'm saying? But I felt as though like I've gotten better each and every year. And even now I'm, still learning and trying to grow as a coach.
Absolutely. So, how did you get into the training aspect of it? Was it just like a spinoff, or you always knew that you were going to get into the training piece?
Nah, the training was a spinoff, man. I used to work with a guy at a financial firm, and when I worked with him, pretty much what ended up happening was, man, he started his training company when I started working with this guy with this other AAU program around the same time. So, also, like, I was coaching at Bethesda Chevy Chase at the time. So I was a JV basketball coach. And what ended up happening was when the kids would go away after the season, they come back, summer, go through the fall or whatever, some of them didn't get better. Mm-hmm. So I started like implementing like, yo, this is how you're supposed to do it from a point guard perspective. Or if you're a small forward, this is what you're supposed to do. And you got to do these type of moves and stuff like that. So I would work with the guy that worked at my job. On the weekends, I come in there and do some training and stuff like that. And ended up falling in love with training, man. I fell in love with it, even though, looking back on it, I was lowball. I was getting paid $25 per kid. And, looking back on it, certain things you got to do in order to get where you are now, you know what I'm saying? So I look back on it and be like, man, even though, I was getting paid $25, like, it was everything at the time, you know what I'm saying? And it was worth trying to teach these kids the proper way to do certain moves and do it with pace, and you do it effectively and efficiently and try to get them better and prepared for their season that they was getting ready to play. So that's kind of like how I fell into training. But if you would have asked me 10 years ago, like, are you going to be training? You know what I'm saying? I would have been like, nah.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. So, going forward with the AAU program, how did that idea come about? Another coaching opportunity, but, did that always was an idea in your head, or, it's just kind of another spinoff?
Yeah, man. It was kind of like one of those things where I had coached for AAU programs here and there. I felt like I've helped a lot of programs and helped a lot of kids over the time that I've coached. But at the same time, a lot of it's nothing like being your own boss. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you're still doing things for other people, and a lot of people don't really see the vision that you have for yourself. And they're only looking at it from a financial eye. You know what I'm saying? So I look at AAU as a platform for kids to be able to get better at the end of the day, be able to get seen, be able to gain exposure, be able to get recruited. That's what it's for. Not going to make no money off AAU. You know what I'm saying? So it came time to a point where that's pretty much what was the crossroad. It was like, yo, like I'm still doing this for this person, but I can do this myself. You know what I'm saying? I can filter out and create a platform for kids to be able to be seen, and that's exactly what I did. So came out with Inspire Elite about 3 years ago, man, and it was probably the best decision that I made as far as the AAU standpoint. It's that.
Absolutely. So, transitioning towards the end of the interview, final question: where do you see Inspire League being in the next, 5 years or so?
In the next 5 years, I see Inspire League to be a fully 100% sponsored program, and I see myself having a younger team to filter out and create a pipeline for my 15s, 16s, and 17s, so that I don't have to worry about where I'm going to get kids from, or just mixing up kids and stuff like that, or just not having that consistent pipeline of kids that I've seen grown together. And that's pretty much what I want to do. And I also want to have a girls team because I think that'll be important. It's a lot of talented girls out here, and I think the market for girls basketball is growing, and it's going to be big time. So I'm looking forward to that, and also just continuously just to have the ability to keep getting kids in school, man. I think that's the most important thing for me.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you coming on. Known you for a little minute.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Man, I appreciate you, man. You have a good one.
Yes, sir. Bet.